Is this year Atletico Madrid's year in the Champions League?
That's a good question. It's like, if you look at Atletico Madrid this season, they're not impressive at all. If you look at Diego Simeone specifically, he looks totally worn out. It looks like he's done with this. They are out of the cup. They are pretty much out of the league race. And they're looking really good in the Champions League.
On the subject of Simeone, I feel like he's a little bit like a reverse Samson. The more hair he has, the less power he seems to have. So as he is somehow, it's miraculous at his age actually, his hairs came back, it's incredible. As that sort of poof has expanded, he seems to have lost a little bit of his aura around him. But I think on their day, they're still by far one of the best equipped teams for cup football in particular. And then also just a few little signs of things going right at the right time. It's all about peaking at the right time in the Champions League. That's important too. We see this every year. Real Madrid, for example, can look terrible up until about January, and then suddenly they hit their stride, and lo and behold, Zidane's a Champions League winning manager. Things Gamero's playing well, really well actually, I would say. Torres is scoring goals. Griezmann started to score again. And I just think things are going right at the right time. Oblak's coming back, Godin's coming back. There's a possibility. And then there's that final thing. Last year, in theory, in the Vicente Calderon, provided they finish their building, which is still not entirely sure. You don't want it to end up like Valencia did and go to the finals without anything. So
with Torres, for example, last season we saw him having a horrible first part of the season where Diego Simeone more or less said that he wanted to get him out of this team. And then the second part of the season, he was so good, people were talking about getting him to the Euros. It's definitely a team that's coming more and more together.
But on that note, the elephant in the room is their defence. I mean, I don't know if you watched them in the midweek against Leverkusen, but I think that genuinely struck me as being one of the least Atletico Madrid-like away performances. They scored loads of goals, but also on the flip side that they defended abysmally. Like, just lazy defending you would never expect. It used to be, they would score a goal, they would shut up shop, and they literally wouldn't concede a shot on target for the rest of the game. And that's the one thing I just feel like if they can return to somewhat like their previous defensive form, then I'd have no doubt they can win it.
Last season where they had, 15 goals or something that they let in all season, and this season, only after like a few rounds, they had already let in as many goals as they did entire of last season. So that's definitely a big problem. Is Simone's head in it still, or is he already thinking about possible move to Inter or somewhere else? Because it doesn't seem like he wants to stay at Atletico.
And this is the problem as well with Simeone being there for perhaps emotional reasons. Extending his contract, then reducing the extension of his contract, which is a really odd situation to begin with. He loves that club and he's so ingrained in that club that in many ways that first decision to take on that contract was more of an emotional than a logical one. Is it really going to work out? He'll feel an immense pressure to win something this year. And that can be a good and that can be a bad thing. But then sometimes these things come together. To return to the defensive situation, something you mentioned, Oblak's not the entirety of their defence, but there also is the importance of a good goalkeeper in organising the defence. And I think we've seen the difference with Moya, he's a decent goalkeeper, but I don't think he's as good as Oblak. So it'll be interesting to see if Oblak coming back has an impact in just how well organised, or rather how badly organised their defence is at the moment.
You want to do a clap like this?